Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. The case that I'm going to be looking into today is a missing persons case of a 12-year-old girl. It happened in the 90s, so she's been missing for a long time and it still remains unsolved. It is the case of Rhianna Barreau. And, well, her family would just really like to know what happened to her, and sadly we, like I said, have no clue. Let's jump into this case. It was suggested by one of you guys, so thank you for that. I appreciate any suggestions you guys have, and of course if you have any more, please do let me know. Rhianna Barreau was born to her mother, Paula, and her father, Leon. Now, she also had a brother called Shannon, but her parents did end up splitting up. They went their own ways. Rhianna still lived with her mother and her brother. They both lived with their mum. Their dad went off and he ended up living in Queensland. He got another wife, but you know, they kept really close. Rhianna would often go down to his house for the holidays and spend the time there. You know, and everyone just really got on with each other and was quite content with the family dynamics that they had now. So, of course, she wouldn't see him all the time, but, you know, they still had really good relationships. Now, we're going to go to the 7th of October in 1992. And this is actually the school holidays. Like I said, she normally would spend a lot of that time over at her dad's, but she decided for some reason or another that she didn't want to this time. She wanted to stay home with her mom and her brother. At the time, her brother was actually at camp. At this moment in time, he was at camp. And, you know, her mother would go out and work. But Rhianna was a lovely girl. She was trustworthy. You know, she would always tell her mum what was going on, what she was doing. She would never just go and do things and not tell them about it. And this is the 90s. Times were very different then. She also had an American pen pal who she would talk to all the time. Obviously now we just use mobiles, but they didn't have that then. So people would write to each other. And they would write letters, send it out, the pen pal would read it and write back, vice versa. And basically that has a good foothold on this story because it involves her pen pal. Anyway, on this day in particular, they had plans, basically. She was going to go shopping to get a Christmas card for her pen pal. I know it was only October at this point, but, you know, mail can take forever sometimes. So she wanted it to get there for Christmas, and to be sure of that, she wanted to do it now. So before her mum went off to work, they'd planned to meet at the shopping centre. She was going to catch the bus there, and then they was going to buy this card and, you know, do a bit of shopping and have something to eat or whatever. That was the plan. However, Paula, her mother, ended up hearing on the radio or something, the news, that there was actually an impromptu bus strike. They decided that instead of going down to this shopping centre, which obviously she couldn't now get to because they had to catch the bus to that, she could possibly go to a closer one, which meant that Rhianna could actually walk there. It was a 20-minute walk. She was a responsible girl. Times were different then. People thought it was a lot safer than it actually was, sadly. And it was a common thing back then. Everyone who trusted their kids would let them go and do their own thing, you know, and it was what they did. So anyway, they'd made this plan that she was going to go to this one instead, and that is what she did later on. So her mother kissed her goodbye, and then off she went to work, which left Rhianna in the house on her own. At the time as well, she was listening to music in her bedroom, which was something she often did. She absolutely loved to listen to music. So we know that at about 10:30, Rhianna set off to go to the shopping centre. Or I don't know if it was like a shopping centre or a news agencies, because I've seen both. Then she was later seen. These are confirmed witness statements that they have actually seen her. She was seen walking between like the high school and the primary school at about 12:30. I believe she bought the card in the shop somewhat about 11:15, 11:05. I can't remember the time exactly. But anyway, she caught this card. She started heading home, which is when she was then seen at the school, heading in the direction. That would have been the route that she would have taken to get home. Okay, so it seems like Rhianna then got home. She put the bag that she was carrying with the card in on the table, turned the telly on, And then we skip forward a few hours to about 4:30, 10 past to 4:30, when her mother returns home. Her mother comes home and she is greeted with the front door being locked. So she unlocks that. Here's the TV's on. Goes inside, thinks obviously Rhianna's going to be in there. There's a vinyl on the floor, which I find a bit strange because obviously those things scratch, and she was very into music. So I don't know whether that would have been a normal thing to find that on the floor or not, but I thought that was a little bit of an odd thing to find on the floor. Anyway, she sees the bag on the table and she's like looking around shouting for Rhianna, but Rhianna was nowhere to be seen. Now, it was known that that day she was wearing a green t-shirt with hypercolour words written across the front. She had purple shorts on, white socks and trainers with a pink tongue and a heart-shaped locket necklace. So anyway, she's looking around for her. Nowhere to be seen. Maybe she's just stepped out because the TV's still on, bearing in mind, right? She would have told her parents or her mum, at least, sorry, not her parents because her dad's all the way over there. But yeah, she would have told her mum if she was stepping out anywhere, and she hadn't done. So that was abnormal. But she thought maybe she's just around at the neighbours or something like that. She goes around, checks around there, can't find her anywhere. And this is when she starts to get worried. This was very out of character for her. She didn't think in a million years that Rhianna had run away because she'd literally gone out to buy this car that she was really excited to send off for a friend. And the card was still there on the table. You know, it didn't make sense for them to, you know, for her to have done that anyway. So she's wondering what on earth has happened. So eventually she does call the police, and the police begin their investigation. They jump on it straight away. They're out scouring looking for Rhianna. And her parents did appeals. Loads and loads of tips came in. Loads of sightings came in. Her father, Leon, ended up coming down to do public appeals and video public appeals as well and help with the searches. But there was just no news on Rhianna. Like I just said a second ago about the tips that come in, there was absolutely tons of them. But a lot of them were like hoaxes and people maybe not necessarily pretending that they'd seen her, but thinking that they'd seen her and they hadn't. A lot of them were unconfirmed, apart from those ones that I have stated to you in the very beginning. So, you know, and there were a lot of hoaxes, like people said that she was being held captive in a building and the police literally dived in there and ransacked it all and there was nobody. Do you know what I mean? Which is just really, really cruel, considering there's a 12-year-old girl missing at this point. It's just heartbreaking that anybody would ever do a hoax like that, but there you go. They had tips of this strange man hanging around that was seen around the highway with a girl possibly matching Rhianna's description. They went there, he was gone. A month later, they were called again to say that he was back, and yada, yada, yada. That didn't lead anywhere either. Thought that they had a breakthrough with a white Tirana car. Tirana? I don't know how to say that. It was reported that it had followed 2 women or something like that, this car, and that it was driving around the streets where Rhianna lived in the days before she vanished. But again, the police didn't get anywhere with that. They tried all these different avenues. They tried absolutely everything. But they just didn't get anywhere. Because the problem was there was no information. Literally, she had neighbours next door who didn't see or hear a damn thing. And so, how can you... We don't have a clue what happened to it. So for starters, the TV was on. The police are thinking there was no sign of a struggle in the house. So the police are thinking that she must have stepped back out again. Or been lured out of the house. But why would she leave the house, say, if she wanted to go to the shop or needed something else, for example? Why would she leave the TV on, is my question. I think it's more likely that maybe she was lured out of the house, because obviously if someone knocks on the door, your intention is to stay inside and watch telly or whatever, continue listening to your music. There's a knock at the door and then they tell you to come outside. You're not going to go and turn your TV off before you do so. However, if you had a plan to go out to the shop again or do something else, you would have turned the telly off, surely, before you left. And the door was still locked as well. So did they go out the back door? Did they lure her out the back door? No idea. A lot of people have looked into this. Detectives have really scoured everything that they could, even like the retired one that still haunts them. They are thinking that basically it was probably someone local, and that sadly Rhianna was murdered, and probably that her body is very close to her house, and they just haven't found her or any information, and they have no idea what happened to her or who did this to her. All they know is that she's gone. They put out $1 million reward raised for any information leading to anything with regards to Rhianna to find out like what happened. But again, nothing came of that. Well, not necessarily nothing, but we know nothing concrete proof, I guess. People probably rang up, don't get me wrong. Now, there's also been a few people who have thought that there was a possible link to Mr. Cruel. Now, if you guys don't know who Mr. Cruel is, he was a person who sort of abducted children, and he did actually kill one of them too in Australia around about the time that this happened. But his MO was very different. I don't know whether the police actually looked into it, but there's no official connections to Mr. Cruel whatsoever. People have speculated that maybe they could be linked. Apparently that is pretty much definitely not the case. The MO is totally different, and so there's not really any links to that. I just wanted to bring it up because a lot of these videos that I've seen, people have like linked it to it when it's not necessarily the case. So I just wanted to let you know on that one. And if you guys do want to know who Mr. Cruel is, I have a video on my channel somewhere about him. I can't remember when it was. It was a while ago now. But yeah, there's a full video on Mr. Cruel and what he did to those poor children as well, if you guys want to go check that out. But going back to Rhianna, she was 12 years old. She had her entire life ahead of her. Honestly, and she just vanished. Completely vanished. She went to the shop to get a Christmas card for her American pen pal, and that was it. She was gone. We have no idea, even slightly, what happened to her. We just know that she did make it home because the card made it home, but that's it. That's it. She's nothing else. I genuinely hope that somebody has some information out there. They must do, right? I know it's been, what, this was 92 when it happened? So that's like 31 years ago. It's been a long time. She would have been like 43 now, something like that. And instead she's eternally 12. It just fully breaks my heart. And even more so that we have no idea who did this to her. Like, somebody out there took a child and got away with it and deserves justice. She deserves to get justice for that. They deserve to be punished for that. It's just really annoying. I genuinely hope that one day information does come out and somebody does come forward and lets us know what happened to Rhianna Barreau, because it is heartbreaking. But yeah, that's the end of the case. If you guys have enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for similar content. Anyway, that's all I have today on the case of Rhianna Barreau. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.